From the east of spring's awakening breezes, to the south of summer's passionate heat, to the west of autumn's purifying waters, to the north of winter's regenerative earth, I open this reading by invoking the Muse. O divine Posy, goddess, daughter of Zeus, sustain for us these messages of inspiration. Make this reading live for us in all of its many bearings, O Muse. Hello, beautiful muses. Welcome back to Cosmo Muse Tarot. Today I have a reading for you looking a little bit into the future, a year from now. And I specifically want to look at what aspect of ourselves in a year from now will be in a much more radiant phase. So something to look forward to. I'm definitely one of those people that believes that we have our life, like the categories of our life are kind of metaphorically like different spokes on a wheel. And so all the time there's something that's going downward and something that's going upward. And so something that's kind of decreasing or dissolving and something that's gaining strength. So to keep this more of a really positive reading, to have something to really look forward to and work towards and have some awareness towards, to bring greater growth and benefit to, I want to look at what sort of coming into this mode of upswing and in a year from now will be in a very radiant phase compared to where it is now. So definitely looking at the bright spot of a year from now. Okay, so we've got 4 piles for you guys. Pile 1, we've got some green calcite for you. Beautiful. Pile 2 is this clear crystal quartz. Pile 3 is some sort of limey turquoise. And pile 4, we've got some Lapis Lazuli. All right, for those of you that have your own method for picking your pile, you can pause here and then just head down to the timestamps in the descriptions to get to your reading. And then for those of you that like the little breath work I do, we will do that now. So take a deep breath in. Suck that air up to the center part between your brow. So up, up, up. Hold it. Suck a little bit more in to add some pressure there. And then with a big loud exhale, opening your crown chakra, inviting whatever higher wisdom you want to come in, whether that's higher self or angelic wisdom or ancestors, whoever you want. Whatever and whoever you want to help guide you to the pile or piles that are right for you. Maybe there's multiple things that you're feeling like are coming into an upswing, or maybe there's something specific you're feeling, or maybe you just don't know, so there's a pile that draws you, whatever it is. All right, I will see you guys in your piles. You can pause here if you need a little more time with the breath or your own method, and head to the timestamps to jump directly to your pile. See you guys in your readings. Hello, pile 1, and welcome to your reading about what is going to sort of have a glow up or a new sense of radiance in your life a year from now. And I already have all of the cards pre-picked. I don't know what they are, so we'll just see as we go what comes out. But I was really tuning into, as I was drawing the cards for the piles, what kind of energy the stones were giving off to help me sort of anchor something as an overarching thing in these readings. And for you guys, it just kept coming back to the word harmonizing or beautifying. So we'll see what comes out and how that might plug into what the cards have to say. And we are going to start with the tarot. Beautiful. we're gonna have to move these face down to fit them. Wow. Yeah. Gorgeous energy. Okay. Yeah, I mean, sticking out to me immediately is this King of Earth being sort of the one court card here, as well as Strength being the one major arcana. So there's something harmonizing, beautifying that is really being helped by or in relation to your sense of mastery or authority around the material realm or around your body. And there's something in your heart specifically that you're really tuning into and allowing yourself to be guided by, which is giving you confidence, it's giving you strength, it's giving you sort of vision and command and yeah, that general, this is sort of about a glow up for sure. And that strength, that connection to your heart is really making you stand out around, some aspect of the material realm and your sense of mastery in it. And then tying in the beautifying and the harmonizing, maybe it's even like your physical spaces or your wardrobe or just the way you're connecting to the earth. We are in this time where a lot of people have a lot of anxiety about the future of earth and the environment, and maybe you're seeing some sort of connecting to a more hopeful, alive, abundant sense of the earth and its potentials and possibilities and your place in it. But there's definitely, some beauty. It's harmonizing things. I really am seeing like spaces in a house kind of being reworked or looking totally different and refreshed in a sense, and having some kind of know-how financially of how to do that refresh with what you've got and how to get a little bit extra, like your heart leading you to a boost or something, an extra something materially to help in this. But it's something that will really make you feel good. It will kind of recharge your sense of command in life, just having something about your physical spaces. And I don't know why that's the thing that's coming through the strongest. So I'm feeling like that's the majority of you, is like your living spaces are getting kind of a revival, a refresh. But for some of you, it may be slightly different than that. It might be a different kind of connection to income or how to budget or your body. And it's, seeing the Ace of Fire here is not surprising overall in this reading in general, but this is indicating to me that it's not just a glow up that's happening or a radiance that's happening. There's like a new impulse in you, a new spark, a new creativity. And maybe that's why it's sort of this more creative realm that's coming around the material to me. It's like new wardrobe, new freshening up of the interior and design in your house. And so maybe it's this creativity of the Ace of Wands that's doing that as well. Strength is connected to Leo, which is a very creative sign. So maybe that combo is kind of, where that's coming from, along with that beautifying thing with the stone that I was feeling. So what I'm seeing is, like, right now, you may feel like this is just an impossibility, like you just don't see this happening, like you're not connecting with it potentially, like there's a block around this, you're not seeing any way forward to this energy that I'm talking about. But that's going to pass in about 6 months. So it's going to be about halfway through this year that all of the sudden it's like one thing after another thing after another thing after another thing just lands and lands and lands and sort of electrifies your life, lights it up, illuminates it, gives it change, gives it movement, changes a perspective that you're holding right now, to allow more, to allow abundance to come in, to allow greater vision, to allow yourself to think outside of the box you've put yourself in. So like right now, there's maybe dreams of this, there's hopes for it. Yeah, I'm feeling like you're in a very dreamy realm right now with these two cards of like, yeah, I am desiring this. This sounds exactly like what I need, what I want, but I don't, it feels like such a lofty thing to me for whatever reason, whatever circumstances in my life. Where I don't know how to make this a priority, or I don't know what first step to take to kind of shift some energy to this area and really prioritize it and lift it up and elevate it and, give it that radiance that is being talked about here. But in about 6 months, you're going to be doing, I think, some deep inner work that's really going to unclog something in your life force. There's something blocking your life force specifically around this right now. And it's about like going inward, seeking, doing some detective work, any kind of mystery about yourself, about your life, about your past, about current circumstances in your life that kind of has an allure, a draw. Go towards it. Dig at that. There's something there that's really going to, you're going to see where there's something that's blocking this area. And just by witnessing it, you're going to suddenly know which foot to put forward first, or what first step you can take, and then which next one, and then which next one. And then after like 2 or 3 or 4 steps, all of a sudden the life force, this energy just starts moving, and it starts clearing this, whatever has been blocked in you. And it's sort of like a dam breaking, I feel like. And all of a sudden, all of this energy that you didn't know was being clogged up is just like flowing rapidly. And that's where we get the one thing after another thing after another thing just landing and landing and landing. And all of a sudden, there's this new creativity, this new impulse, this new confidence and strength and willingness to step up into some sort of mastery and like really refreshing the material of your life. And it could be all of the above. It could be the way you feel or look with your body. It could be your wardrobe. It could be your physical spaces, really getting that clean out and refresh. And maybe that's one step you could think about is like, what do I need to do away with in my diet? What kind of clutter do I need to get rid of? All these things that do make you kind of look at your past and the way habits have been built, and recognizing what patterns there are that have been built through your past that even if you have a positive association with or don't necessarily mind, all of a sudden you're like, oh, you know what? That is the thing, that once a week when I have pizza, or that inability to get my body moving in the morning, or that inability to just take stock of what seasonal clothing I have right now, or like in general for the moment. And it's just sort of like looking at the patterns, looking at what is there and recognizing it and being like, if I did this, or if I ate one slice less of pizza every week, or had pizza every other week instead of every week, and it doesn't have to be, no, I love pizza. I eat pizza a lot. So I'm not trying to guilt anyone. I'm just saying like, what is it for you? That's just one example for you specifically. that you can look at and be like, yeah, this material aspect of my life isn't right. And so what are some patterns around it? What am I eating? How am I taking care of my clothing? Am I not even aware that I haven't bought myself new clothing in 2 years or so, like what is it? And it's going to be different for everybody, but just sort of taking stock of all these physical realm things and the patterns around them and how those patterns got instilled in you, whether it was stuff all the way back to childhood or stuff that as you become more of an adult and more independent, you just didn't really pay much attention to, and now it's a habit and you didn't necessarily think it was affecting your life, but all of a sudden you're like, oh, and that's such a small thing, like that wouldn't be that hard to change. I just have to really take stock of what these habits and patterns are and where they started, where they came from. And I'm not getting the sense that these are really deep psychological things. I'm thinking of them more as habits and patterns that started just because of some circumstance or some environment. So it's more about habits rather than doing things out of like deep unconscious motivations. It's a little bit more simplistic than that. So that's the good news. So it's just, observe those patterns, see what comes out, what you can witness, and by witnessing what you can quite easily, I'm feeling like this isn't, it's just that needing to notice and observe and witness, and then it's actually going to be much easier to change than you think. Okay, let's look at a few more oracle cards, see what we've got going. Let's see, between two worlds. Yeah, that's why I feel like you're coming into a whole new phase of being in the material realm with everything we've talked about, environment, body, money, whatever it is materially, all of the above, but whatever specifically connects to you, that's what it is. And you're ready to step into a new awareness and awakening and responsibility in this realm, mastery in this realm. But there's just some shadow work that is needing to be done this first 6 months. And then when we get to the year point, you will have like taken those other 6 months to kind of instill some different patterning. And all of a sudden it's like you're going to step from this fogginess, this cloudiness of not really feeling in control of something to having total clarity, vibrancy, confidence. It's beautiful. Okay, we got here and now. Yeah, and I think that's definitely a call to being really present with yourself. Once you kind of look back and observe where things started, what does feel foggy, really getting present, getting still, and noticing what can I do right now today, not looking at that year from now thing of like, oh, I want, having these very, very lofty dreams of how this potentially could be. That's great, but you need to start right now, today, right this minute, as soon as this reading ends. What is one thing right in my present moment that I notice right now that I can take a very miniature, easy, simple step to kind of shift a pattern or create a different rhythm to a certain pattern in my life? So getting really present and still in certain moments, especially after you've done some review and witnessing, all of a sudden just like dropping into the present instead of being like, okay, I see that pattern, I see where it started, and this is where I want to be, and then not taking the time to be in the moment and like, well, what can I actually do right this second? A lot of us miss that step. Why? That is a huge, I love this. That's something that's coming through. There's these questions coming through and these calls to action coming through, which are steps that are very simple, but that for whatever reason, we rarely take the time to pause and notice and ask and witness. And sometimes it's just because we get in a comfort zone, and change can be scary. The thought of pushing our boundaries, pushing ourselves to do things a little differently can scare our sense of, as humans, we really like predictability. We like to know what's next. And so when we challenge that consciously on purpose, it takes a lot of heart. It takes a lot of willingness to get uncomfortable. And so this is what this is asking you to do, is the why. Why in this present moment do I think eating one less piece of pizza per week, or doing some side work for my sister on the weekends to make a little extra money, or why is it so hard for me to move my body in the morning? And do some free writing about this. Ask these questions, things about you where you feel like there's some stagnancy in your life, and do some free writing, 1 page, however long that takes you, whether it's 5 minutes or 20 minutes. Just whatever, no formal structure to this, just write whatever comes to mind. Every time one of those moments comes where you see where you're kind of foggy, where you're stagnant, where you need to turn up some energy, get really present with yourself, and then ask a specific question and write about it. It's really going to help you to identify what kind of new patterning needs to come in and why. Why do I need my material life to shift? Why do I need more mastery here? Why does my heart need to feel more connected here? Why is my heart disconnected here? Whatever the questions are for you, and they can be as practical or as conceptual as they need to be, whatever that is for you. Okay, let's look at a few more cards. Ooh, I love this. Yeah, I feel like you are absolutely sort of like ready for some adventure. Movement. Okay, yep. It's time for you to really get in touch with your longings and your desires, and to purposely shake your life up a little bit. And part of doing this and knowing what it is that needs to be shaken up, and what's that first thing to do, what's that first step that we've already talked about. It's sort of like this moment right now of like, what is that? I don't know that first step. I'm a little stuck. Listen to those longings, as crazy as they are. Maybe it's sort of like, I need to take all of my vacation time all at once this year and go to Costa Rica for 3 weeks. Something just really that might feel slightly extreme for you, or challenge your sense of safety a little bit. I think you need to challenge your sense of safety. That's really coming through strong. And you need to have a bit of an adventure. So it doesn't have to be literal, like going to Costa Rica. It could be taking a big break from work. It could be just, every weekend this month, I'm going to try something new, or take a cooking class, or, whatever it is, or go to a different neighborhood I've never really explored. Something that just kind of isn't the norm, is not what you typically do on the weekends. Just shake it, do something different. Yeah. And to feel into what this should be, I don't feel like you should get in your head about this, like, okay, well, what is something different? And I'm going to list some things and like look up online some articles about how you could shake up this or that. instead of doing it more mentally and logically like that, I think you really need to get in touch with your emotions and a certain longing in you that you're really scared to listen to. And let it flow, let it push you towards shaking something up, even if it's very small initially. But listening to your longings and your emotions is going to push you into further and further into those floodgates opening, the dam opening, and things that have kind of gotten stockpiled and stagnant and stuck starting to move, and new fertility all of a sudden being felt, and that sense of stability that comes from fertility kind of igniting new passion in you, new drive, totally where this is coming from. That's sort of the process here. The Ace of Wands coming through by purposely just pushing yourself to be more adventurous in some aspect of life right now, and listening to your feelings and longings to direct what that should be. And it's all of a sudden going to move from floodgates to kind of this, that radiance all of a sudden just blossoming out of you. Really beautiful. Okay, let's look at the next two cards. Pure nature, beautiful. I'm getting the sense that you need to. Oh, and I'm loving this from what I said earlier about like an update in wardrobe. She's wearing this beautiful blossoming flower as a frock or a dress, whatever. But I think that there's something coming through here about, and we've got this earth energy with the King of Earth. We saw a little, buried now, but something about connecting to nature coming through here as a way to reconnect to your own nature, to your own emotions, to your own longings, to a recognition of what's stuck. And really getting in touch with what your personal nature is. There's something that's stuck there. And by doing some of the things we've already talked about, tapping into nature in general. So I do want to say whatever you can do to, early morning little walks in the hillsides. I don't know, maybe that's hard where you live, but somewhere, maybe there's like a park. If you're in New York, can you go do morning walks at Central Park? Or, wherever you are, if you're in a bigger city or somewhere that is harder to access remote nature, are there some parks somewhere where you can go in the morning or an evening where you can just be by yourself and just really notice, go slowly, observe nature, the little critters, what's blossoming or dying. Where I am right now, the leaves are going to start turning very quickly. Up in the mountains, they're already turning, but down in the valley where I'm at, they're kind of yellowing. But, it's like, what can you do to start observing nature and getting in touch with those natural rhythms of the earth? And what might that wake up in your own nature, which then helps you to open those floodgates, get in touch with your emotions, move something, and start to blossom a little bit more. And then, can you hear me? And I totally want to relate this back to this card. Something about your personal nature is calling out for you to listen more. It's saying, can you hear me? And that's why I really want you to do some solo things in nature. There's something about that witnessing of natural rhythms that really reconnects you with your own natural rhythm, and it really attunes your ears and your hearing into your own patterns. And then also meditation, especially focusing on the heart chakra. You could probably find some YouTube heart chakra meditations, because that's where our kind of guide voice lives, is within our heart. And we saw that with strength too. There's something with the heart. There's something with your personal nature that's really wanting to wake up and move and reconnect to you. Okay, these are not the last, but second to last type of cards. We got Paradox, Ascension, Manifest, Underworld, and the Observer. Yeah, I almost want to put Underworld and Observer first, and then Paradox. Yeah, like I think you need to do some deep observing. We've already talked about with your patterns, especially around the physical realm. Go deep, do some reviews, look back on how habits got instilled all the way back to childhood if need be. And that may take you into ancestral work or work about, I know I said this wasn't going to be connected to deep psychological stuff, but there is something here pointing towards there's something that got in these habits, there's something that got stuck in the underworld. And we've, in a sense, already kind of talked about that. But this is saying like you do need to go down into the dark, into something a little bit more unconscious, by observing where patterns started, where habits started, where your connection to material life started, or where certain feelings about material life stemmed from. So going deep, really looking back. I want to say the underworld is more about like looking back and then looking within and getting in touch with your true nature versus what was instilled in you and what just kind of became because that's what your environment was doing. So looking at what's underneath in terms of your true nature, and how was that, how did something about that never really get in touch with itself in terms of your material patterning? Take some time to observe and look inward and backward. And you're going to see some paradoxes here where both and are going to be the solution. Where it's like, well, to me, what's coming up is that nature versus nurture thing of like, part of my nature is what it is because of the patterns that were instilled in me. And then part of them are things about you that you need to now get more in touch with and express that were inherent from day one. And so some of those things that were kind of entrained in you versus what were kind of in your DNA and kind of nature patterning might have felt contradictory. And I'm not going to try and pinpoint what this is for each of you because it's going to be very different for each of you, but there's something that you're harmonizing now, getting back to this green stone, beautifying, harmonizing, that's starting to make sense as you review what your natural connection is and your entrained connection is to the material realm, that feel very different and don't live together easily. But suddenly, as you look back, as you get in touch with yourself, and as you observe what is and what has become and why, where was that why question, it's sort of like you suddenly see a way to resolve these things that feel conflicting, where both and can be. Both living together creates something more dynamic about yourself, and suddenly it's just like something will click. And I really feel like this is at the 6-month point, and the more you do this sort of work on the past and work within, the greater the results are going to be, the higher the ascension, raising your vibration, and the greater you're going to see that material manifestation ability really kick in a year from now. And really all of a sudden your mastery in the material realm is just totally different. It's coming into its own. It's thriving. It's alive. It's connected. It understands how, for your particular wiring and patterning and nature and enculturation, the formula you need to manifest in the material realm, and in a way that feels very beautiful, very elegant, very harmonious. So I do think it's like harmonizing something within you about your nature versus nurture, in terms of your connection to the material. And like, you're going to find a way to shake this up, move it, harmonize tensions, and really plug in and come into your heart with it all. Okay, last things. These last 3 cards I want to look at in terms of what are 3 more things, and they may relate to what we've already talked about, or they might just be other things we haven't discussed yet but aren't really ready to go into depth around what's going to really be radiant in a year from now. So a little creativity, that's beautiful. And we saw with the, we have fire in here, and we have that Ace of Wands, and the Strength card being Leo, which is creative. That doesn't surprise me. So your creativity on point. Love, connection to the heart. And we're really connecting this year, this coming year, into your nature, harmonizing some tensions that have been in there, some paradoxes, and really dropping into the heart, which love and creativity come out of. Love that. And then rebirth, beautiful. Doesn't get better than that. Total rebirth. And I feel like the people that came to this pile are probably listening to it and where things are supposed to be in the year, feeling like, I desire that, but I can't fathom it. I have way too far to go. But you're going to be surprised by how quickly, and I love that this 6 came up in the middle, because that's where I'm feeling like that turning point is coming. I actually want to read that in terms of like, in 3 months, you're really going to get the steps you need to take. In 6 months, you're really just becoming so much more aware, having those aha moments and weaving in the new patterns. And then in less than a year and a half, you will be fully rebirthed. So I think at the year point, you're going to have that glow up. Things are going to be radiant, but in a little less than a year and a half, even more so, like you're going to continue to glow up after the year. And at that 16-month point, you're going to feel like a completely different person in terms of understanding your nature, your connection to your heart, and your mastery of your material realm. So beautiful, you guys. I love this reading. All right, if this resonated for you, please leave a thumbs up. It helps me know what you guys are enjoying. Definitely love to peruse the comments as well. Fun to see if there's certain things that stick out for you guys. And for sure, subscribe if you're not. All right, see you later. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading, all about what in a year from now is coming into sort of a phase of radiance or glow up in your life. this is you guys. You picked the clear crystal quartz. All right, we are going to start with the tarot on this, and then we'll move into some oracle cards that I've already picked. I haven't looked at any of these, but just to save you guys time, I picked them out already. And then one thing I want to say is when I was picking the cards for this reading, in each pile, I really plugged into and felt I don't always connect to if I'm pre-picking piles or whatever I use to kind of segregate the piles. I don't always feel like a very specific vibe or message. You know, it sometimes happens, but on this one, every single pile felt there was a vibration sort of that came through, or a word or something that was like, this is kind of the anchor or umbrella of this reading. And for you guys, it had a lot to do with sort of elevating or kind of an elevation of your vibration in general, something kind of purifying and elevating in your general vibration. So let's look at the cards and see what this might pertain to more specifically. But I love that message already coming through. So 3 of waters, 3 of water, 10 of air, page of water, 4 of air, chariot. Might need to scooch these a little. 5 of air. Yeah, a lot of air in this group. That doesn't surprise me about this being sort of about a vibration, kind of that mental energy elevating. So even more so, what I'm seeing here, because both 3 of water and chariot have to do with the energy of Cancer. There's something about your connection to, especially mentally, your security in life, your support systems in life, and your ability to sort of move forward because of that stability and support you're feeling. That at this moment, there's a ton of anxiety around, but I feel like it's at this point at the moment where you've just kind of thrown your hands up. It's just like you've hit the lowest you can hit in terms of anxiety around this, and you're just throwing your arms up and surrendering into something. And that's exactly what you should be doing at this point. Because as soon as we let go of kind of that mental tumbling and mental angst and stress, and just kind of like, I need to be done with this. I can't, my brain is fried. That's how I'm feeling. Like my brain is fried. I'm just surrendering. And it's like that point when grace comes in. And I feel like this is where you're at this moment. And really quickly, whether you're already starting to feel moments, I'm going to say most of you are still in this moment of like just throwing your hands up of like, I don't know how to feel that grounding, that security, that support that I need. And whatever, I'm just going to start throwing spaghetti at the wall because I'm so tired of deliberating about it, ruminating about it, questioning everything, trying to control everything. It's too much. And I think that's where all of you are right now, or the majority of you. And immediately, even though you may not see new energy and positive flow coming in right at this second, there is an easing that you should be feeling of that just surrender. As much as it's painful, I think, at this moment to surrender, I think that there is sort of a new quality of breath starting to come into you, and that's a starting point. And very quickly after that, after all of a sudden there's this new breath coming in and this new just live and let live attitude out of pure exhaustion, something comes alive in you emotionally, and it may appear as sort of an overwhelm of emotion that's not so comfortable unless you're very comfortable with emotions. But what this is doing is you are purifying some of this mental stress that's been twisting you up, and your sense of even belonging up. There's something that needs to not just be surrendered to mentally, but as you breathe a little easier because of that, you need to allow your emotions to come as they come and not hold them back. And especially if there's tears, you need to just let them come. There's something about this that is purifying some mental twisting up, not misrepresentations mentally or miswiring. It's just like stress that's kind of twisted things up, and it's purifying that, and it's letting you let go of wanting so badly to know how you plug in, to know your place, to know in what way can you feel stable and supported in life, because that's sort of the step before feeling stable and supported, is finding sort of where we belong. And you're right on that precipice, and the exact thing you need to do to actually get there is to let go. Because the more you try to control that through mental energy, the more you kind of sabotage that aspect of life. And so I feel like this is where you're at right now. You're letting go of that control. You're just kind of throwing your hands up, letting things be, allowing a different quality of breath to come and the emotion to start to flow. And as the emotion starts to flow, a new idea, a new, I don't want to say idea exactly, a new, and it's not a spark either. It's like your heart all of a sudden opens up, and there's like this new, it's very still malleable and unsure of itself, but there is undeniably, I feel like, at the 3 to 6 month point. So you may go through about 3 to 6 months of this kind of what we've just talked about. And then you'll have another 3 to 6 months of, well, I want to say 3 months. Let's give it all 3 months. So 3 months of this, 3 months then of this unmistakable new quality arising in your heart of feeling emotionally like you're stepping onto a right path. Like you're young in this. It's not set in stone, but you feel an impulse and an emotional drive and a path opening up, where you see where your balance point comes in, and you can see where you can use your mind in a more neutral, meditative, less controlling way to move forward in finding that stability and finding that sense of belonging, this sense of a support system created around you and stability underfoot. Yeah, it's just like a much more peaceful mind all of a sudden will arise in about 3 months after you let the floodgates kind of untwist the stress that's gotten in your mind. It's like all of a sudden it's just there. You don't even have to do anything. It's just like this fresh opening in your heart shows you a certain way to flow, a certain way to try to be. It feels new, it feels different, but it feels alive, and it brings just this much more balanced, meditative, neutral mind that is able to kind of observe a little bit better, to harmonize with things a little bit better, to find that grounding and that support system by being sort of in a flow of give and take and not thinking so much. And that's what it is. I think you're stepping out of being so wrapped up in this self-focus. Not, to me, that's like a spring phase. It's not necessarily bad. We have to go through it. But the paradox is that we don't always find that support and that belonging that we get so deeply into our self-centering to find and understand what we need. It's not until we start considering other and observing other and harmonizing with other that it actually really kind of fills in and makes sense. And so you're coming into this maturity around knowing how to create support systems and stability in your life. And it's because you're starting to move into a phase of thinking a lot more about others. And something about that just like really opens up paths that are very fresh for you to weave in some grounding in your life and to weave in much more harmonious support systems in your life. And then by the 9-month to year point, things will really be moving in this direction, and that elevation of your mental energy, kind of the rising of vibration mentally, is really going to lift you up. Your soul is going to know exactly how to move forward, exactly what it wants, and exactly how letting go. And we're seeing this here as like a circle back to this moment, I think right now, where you're a little bit more self-focused, of like, even beyond being other focused, it's like you're seeing, oh, okay, this is cool. You're actually moving from like attention inwardly about self into this new, more harmonious place of really considering others, which starts to stabilize and harmonize things into, by the year point, really knowing all of the sudden how to plug into the greater networks and the greater groups, and really putting yourself out in the world because you feel that stability and security and support systems that you need. You're suddenly able to elevate that mental energy into such a beautiful plane that you're resonating with networks and groups and the greater world, and you're really lifting yourself up into this. And the biggest thing that is being found and understood and really helping that radiance that you're finding is this thing of being able to sacrifice being right all the time for what's best for the overall elevation of energy. How can you harmonize the energy even if it means you have to sacrifice what you know is right in order to really create a higher level energy and much higher level things in your life? So this is a really cool progression, actually, and it's very quick to go in a year from being incredibly self-focused towards being on this mental vibration that's just like really resonating out in the world. So yeah, I mean, that's like something must really click for you that you move through this so quickly. Okay, let's bring in our first oracle cards. Let's see. Oh. Round and round. You have been going round and round and round in the same pattern, in the same circles, getting nowhere. And it is by that kind of surrendering and just allowing your emotions to flow that coil of the spiral of around and round, instead of it being a merry-go-round, turns into a spiral staircase. You're letting things breathe more. And I think I did say something about like a new quality of breath coming in. It's allowing that round and round to not stay on the same plane, but to expand, to find its space and to start to elevate. Like we said with this crystal, there's an elevation of vibration happening here. Yeah, it's just like you need to let go, you need to breathe. Whew. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling, like just let it be, let the tears flow, let the breath elongate, and that round and round will start to elevate instead of stay on the same plane. Okay, co-create. Oh my gosh, this couldn't be any more like on par. Is as you go round and round, go higher in a spiral rather than the same plane, you start to come into that more other focus, and you start to co-create. You start to build trust and relationship with others and support systems, and your grounding in life because of your ability to be more other focused suddenly. It's like something about this is going to click for you, of like a real sensitivity about observing and noticing others, and just coming into a balance between what I need and what other needs, and finding that co-creative juice that happens. And it's just creating a wisdom in you. We see the owl here. It's creating a wisdom in you. I don't know. This looks like an egg. I don't know if it's supposed to be that Humpty Dumpty thing or something, but like glued back together with everyone's help. It's sort of like, I'm feeling like you're letting other people in more, and you're allowing collaboration more suddenly. And things with that cheetah there are all of a sudden going to start going very quickly in your life at about 6 months. 5 to 6 months, all of a sudden it's just going to like, I feel like that first 3 months, you're kind of, breathing, expanding, loosening. And then all of a sudden, as it clicks, as you're starting to understand a little bit more about other focus, wisdom comes in, and then all of a sudden life just speeds up because you're really allowing co-creative energy and cooperative energy and a little bit more other focus. And then here we go, breathe. And all the way through it, it's like whatever pacing, whatever sort of phase you're coming into in terms of moving from self to other, to groups, it's like you're starting to see how your quality of breath can really be such a huge tool for helping you to move into and through these with ease and an accelerated rate, or a really comprehensive rate. So it's, yeah, really pay attention to your breath. There's something about that. This first several months, it's like really slowing it down. And then I feel like once you get to the co-create, it's, we got the cheetah here. So it's sort of like really building endurance in your lungs because you're going to be going quickly. And then I feel like here, when we get to that year, 9 months through year point, you're coming into this just like very elevated state. And so it's just like a really rhythmic, beautiful quality of breath. I think that's coming through. That's, not overly slow, but not about endurance. It's just like coming into its elevated resonance of just this beautiful rhythm, sustaining, that in, that out, understanding, when to draw in, when to give out, the flow, the rhythm of that. Beautiful. Okay, let's look at a few more oracle cards. Motion, air. Yeah, you guys are very mentally oriented people. And so it is, again, it's something about the breath, something about the quality of air around you to really notice that. You may need to put yourself in fresh air more than the typical person, or in areas that have sort of more wind tunnels to kind of like move energy in and through you more quickly. You may be someone that a little bit of like jogging or aerobic exercise might help to move things through you, to really connect you to both the quality of the air that you're in and the quality of your breath. Yeah, so interesting. Okay. Depth, lake. Yeah, overall, I feel like what this group is trying to do and what's trying to find its radiance here is you finding your grounding, your stability, and that place of feeling support systems and stability really comes from a soul place. And so another way of looking at the soul is like going down into the depths of something. And so this moment, like these 3 months, these first 3 months of the year where you're kind of allowing emotion to flood through, allowing yourself to purify something with potentially some tears, or just allowing that emotion to come through, allow that to take you deep as well. To really check in with what is it when you strip everything away about your mind trying to control things or make things appear a certain way. What is it you actually want? Allow those tears to move you deep down in towards your soul. Okay. And then, groundedness, gravity. Yeah, sort of, to me, just like another confirmation coming through here of that's the main goal here, and the main thing that will be glowing up and really radiating in a year is that you're finding your grounding. You're finding what kind of gravity you need to feel solid and secure on the ground in order to elevate and move out into the world. So we see this woman really grounded on earth, but because she's grounded, she's able to elevate. She's able to put things out there and blossom and feel connected to the much bigger and greater things and much deeper and wiser things. So it's sort of like the tree, finding your stability and security. You're able to both go deep and reach high. And that's going to be the end thing where you're really radiating. Is sort of like you've found sort of your soils where you feel stability and you're really able to reach then, and feel stable enough to reach, but like with a humility, with a knowing of what quality of gravity is meant for you and really supports and feeds your soul, what your soul wants. That's the thing that gives you the strength and the grounding to reach. You're figuring that out. Okay. Next, we've got secrets. Oh, I love this. Yeah, and all of this work that you're doing, I think that as you move from, a more self-focused place towards other focus, towards, a real much bigger collective conscious place, each step along the way, it's like there's secrets that you're unlocking, and it's still being like very, very, and the moon is on this again, which again connects into that Cancerian energy that I've sort of been talking about with the Chariot, the Three of Waters, the depth, the grounding. So we've got the moon on here, which is, the cosmic body that rules Cancer. And I do think it's sort of allowing your emotions to flow, to connect you, and your breath to do the same. And through those emotions and through really paying attention to how you're breathing, secrets that are a little bit more esoteric, that are a little bit more soulful, that are really deep down within you, that you really need to know in order to ground, in order to find those soils you need and the sustenance you need. Each step along the way, secrets are being revealed about this, and they're very personal and they're very intuitive. And I think you're really also going to be learning how to trust your intuition and how to believe your intuition and value and respect your intuition. And all of that is just beautiful secrets coming from it. A secret of intuition itself is sinking in. I really think you're moving in general from this kind of light, flittery energy, trying to find the flower that suits you, to really grounding into being a tree and stable and deep. So it's, beautiful transition coming through. And then night ride, and we've got owls here again, which has to do with intuition and wisdom and the night, and really observing what's deep down in our soul and seeing through intuition rather than seeing through mind. And I think that's a big thing coming through here. And then we've got the elephant here too, which I always think of elephants as like very grounding, stable energy, becoming that tree that knows its right soils and the right nutrients it needs to stabilize and feel secure and feel supported in our private lives in order to reach, and moving towards, look at this glittery, mystical energy being moved towards. You're moving from kind of a darker kind of mental vibration to a very ethereal, light, elevated mental vibration. I love that. Really beautiful. Okay, last main oracle cards. I have a few cards after this, but they'll be a little different. Let's see what we've got here. So trust. I think this is all about falling on that secrets in the moon. I think this has a lot to do with trusting your intuition, trusting your depth. I think there's some things you're going to learn over the next year about the feminine side of life, moving from what appears right and good and for you towards feeling what is and trusting that feeling and that intuition. Get creative. And again, I think that creativity is going to really start channeling through you rather than anxiety. I think you're moving from anxiety to creativity too in that mental vibration. Because anxiety can often come from creative energy that's not being given the space to breathe and drop into a flow. It's like you're trying to control it, And I feel that with the wings coming off of that and the flower blooming, kind of that breath we've talked about of like elongating the breath, letting things breathe, letting things be, feeling them, and then moving. And then all that air energy too, it just, you have the air to catch the wings that the wings need to move of this creative energy. You've got the air for that. It's just letting it breathe, letting it trust something more emotional within itself, something more heart-driven. The sage, yeah. And again, we have the moon here that feels sort of elevated. And I really think that there's not only new understanding and information and grounding and ahas coming through, but you're finding a lot of wisdom on this path about how to really harmonize like the yin and yang side of you, and how to really let that more feminine, emotional, grounded energy be something respected and valued and given free range in your life. And there's something about that just brings so much more wisdom into, that mental vibration, just feeling so much more trusted. Again, that trust there. Release. Yeah, it's just, we've already talked about this, but I feel it in my body. I'm a little bit more of a kinesthetic learner than anything, so I feel things more physically. And I'm feeling that with you guys. Just this like, this deep out breath, and even a relief of like not focusing so much on self anymore. It's just, I'm sick of myself. I'm sick of trying to control things. I'm sick of appearances. I'm sick of the rat race, whatever it is, and just that release. Like, what do I actually want, And who are the people in my lives? What do they need from me? What are they doing? Just this different orientation, this release, just really relaxing you. And the wilding, and that's part of the feminine energy too, is the wild energy. Intuition is seen and tried to be controlled by kind of that patriarchal energy, is like, we need to be, proper and intellectual and appear a certain way. And that deep yin, dark feminine energy is like the wolf, it howls at the moon and it runs wild, and you're unleashing that. That's what's coming. In a year from now, you're really unleashing that feminine side, trusting in it, finding a new sense of wisdom due to allowing that other half of yourself to really have a voice. And it's just like you're going to rise up to be this sage energy, and the people who know you right now aren't going to recognize you, because you're going to have so much more of like this grounded, more still, more centered, more confident, somewhat, I don't know if it's quiet that I want to say, but it's like a calmer energy, and you're just vibrating really, really high. And they're going to be like, who are you? What happened to the person that I knew a year ago? Okay, these last 3 cards are going to be other things. They may relate to what we've talked about, and they might be completely different. But 3 things in a year from now that may also be kind of coming into radiance. And if they're unrelated, we're not ready to know how or why. It's just sort of a peek. So nature, beautiful. So really connecting into your own nature. The reading 1 was a lot about this as well. Really connecting to your own personal nature, your own personal vibration, really reconnecting to that. Physical activity, we saw with the horses, that movement, really using breath, really getting moving, letting your emotions flow, your body flow, your mind, everything's kind of flowing and active, I think, by the year point. Ooh, interesting. Parenting, we haven't seen that. So maybe as you integrate a little bit more of this depth and stability in your life, maybe it's because you've found things that you want to, that other focus coming in, things that you really want to nurture. I don't think this has to be specifically a child. We parent a lot of things. We parent plants, we parent animals, we parent friends, but there's something in you that comes out that's much more nurturing and other focused and really interested in seeing other things and people flourish outside of you, giving a little bit more sacrificial energy to make everything better around you by sacrificing a little of you, if that makes sense. So really beautiful reading, you guys. I'm excited for this year to come and really turn you into this beautiful sage, wise energy and really ground you and help you reach a bit better and really feel supported in life. So beautiful. This is where I'm going to leave you. If this resonated, the thumbs up definitely helps me to know what you guys are liking. Comments are always fun to peruse as well. I love to see what sticks out to you. And if you're not subscribed, please do so. All right, I'll see you guys in another reading. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading. If this is you guys, you picked this limey green turquoise. And this is all about what's going to kind of come into a phase of radiance for you 1 year from now. And I have pre-picked the cards so that we don't have to make this any longer than needs be, saving you guys a little time. We're going to start with some, I haven't looked at any of them, but we're going to start with tarot and then move into some oracle cards. But before we start, one thing that happened as I was picking cards for all of the piles is the stones associated with them started to really give me certain messages. And I was really feeling like those messages were kind of like the umbrella or overarching kind of theme going on. And for this pile, it was this theme about intensification or a certain sort of like empowerment of something. So we are going to dig into the cards and see what that means, what that might pertain to, where that's coming from, going to, all that. Okay. Ooh, beautiful. We've got patience. Empress, gorgeous. Seven of Air. Three of Fire. Page of Fire. I think I'm going to need to scoot these a little. And then Seven of Water. Okay, interesting. I mean, these first two cards to me feel like you, by the year point, are really understanding how to connect into a sense of fluid abundance, how to not just that you're feeling a sense of abundance and a sense of fertility in your life and really having sort of the energy and desire to birth things and create things, but it's like you're coming into secret understanding or a really wise, in-depth, experienced understanding of how to create that, cultivate that sensibility within your life. So instead of that Empress energy, cycling in and out of someone's life, sort of like a season, knowing what you need to do to cultivate that energy so that it's a little bit more of a central figure in your life rather than a seasonal one, if that makes sense. So like really knowing what ingredients, concoctions, rhythms, perspectives are needed to honor the Empress, to keep her sustained, to keep her energized and well taken care of, and cozy and comfortable within your essence. And I think the learning process that you're going to go through to get to that point has a lot to do with honoring who you are amongst the crowd. Instead of going with the flow, going with the trends, going with what's seen to be in fashion or popular or trending or part of the zeitgeist, really keying into who you are, what's your personal uniqueness, and honoring that without any sort of feelings of otherness, feelings of awkwardness, like really being able to drop into the authentic originality of who you are. And there's something about that that's going to really help you to broaden a perspective, change your perspective, and better take care of that part of you that desires to create and birth and make life fertile. And I think what you find is very, very creative energy there. Like that's what, I almost want to reorder these to kind of tell that story. So you're kind of unmasking your originality without shame, without any awkwardness, just really embracing being who you are, no matter what the crowd is doing or saying or pressuring. Broadening that perspective and really growing in knowing how to take care of your personal ability to create and manifest, and it unlocking in you your true north. In a year from now, like, you are going to know what your true north is so hard. Your ship is coming in. That's a lot of times what people will say with the 3 of Wands or the 3 of Fires, but I usually don't. But then I look down and I'm like, oh, she's in her ship. Her ship is not only coming in, you are boarding your ship. The ship has come in, and a year from now, you are already on your ship towards your true north, well on your way. And there's just this new sense of self that just feels fun. It feels youthful. It feels full of very unique, original, creative ideas. And it is unlocking the access you have to all sorts of potentials, all sorts of offers, all sorts of whatever it is. Paths of creating in your life, and that will be its own problem, but we're going to just let that be, because this is sort of like what's radiating, what's positive. And I'm going to say, because you have this fresh, actually I will go there, because you have such this fresh, vital, electric kind of creativity coming out of you, and you're really on the path of your true north. What I'm seeing about this 7 of Waters, instead of like really having to be careful with all of the potentials in front of you, you know how to juggle and endlessly with the Empress create as much as you want. Create all sorts of opportunities and step onto all sorts of creative paths, and know how to keep them afloat with ease. They're all sort of supporting each other and intermingling in some way. And they're just, it's sort of like you throw them into orbit and you have such this gravity around you of like really, really having this well-sustained, well taken care of creative ability, Empress ability in you, being able to do almost the human with ease, having many creative sparks in the fire, and those flowing with ease, those orbiting around you because of the gravity, the intensity that you hold. Yeah, that's what this is making so much sense, as I actually kind of like forgot about the stone for a minute, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh wait, how does that integrate? And I'm like, it's exactly, and it's matching the color of this card. I actually want to put that up there for the rest of the reading. It's like, your power and your intensity is going to have such a gravity a year from now in terms of your ability to create and be your original sense of self, your original energy. There's just like nothing that can, there's an intensity around it that's just making everything come into orbit around you. It's beautiful. Okay, let's do some oracle cards on this to get a little bit more info. Okay, we've got a leg up. Amazing. So, to me, this is saying that you need to also, you may be someone who's a little bit more privileged than the typical person. And this is giving you a leg up in the coming year. And it's okay what's coming through. Sometimes we can feel guilty and sabotage that kind of thing. And sometimes maybe we do need to sacrifice our privilege to sort of create more equity in the world. But something's coming through specifically about this is that you're meant, whatever this leg up is about, and it may be just random, like maybe you don't come from a privileged background, but a leg up comes. What I'm feeling is a sense of guilt around whatever this is. Maybe you've never had a leg up, and a leg up all of a sudden comes, and you're just like, there's a whole lot of energy that could sabotage this, is what I'm feeling. A lot of shame or guilt around it. And what's coming through is that you need to allow this leg up. You've earned it for some reason. This is coming from like orchestrated by the spirit realm for you. So you need to drop whatever shame may come in around when a leg up comes to you, and embrace it. Crawl on its back. It's going to take you somewhere. And you'll see, what I'm getting is that even though there may be some shame initially, you're going to see very quickly why it was needed and why it was meant and why it was divinely orchestrated. It will make sense to you, and you'll be able to drop that very quickly. But that initial accepting the leg up, I don't know why I feel like is going to be hard for you guys, but accept it. That's what I'm saying, and very quickly you'll realize and be able to drop any weird feelings around that. Okay, Treasure Island. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at these two cards with all this sea life around her, and then this Treasure Island. I feel like this Empress quality that you're really starting to plug into and make a more central aspect of yourself and really radiating out of yourself. You're unleashing, especially with the Seven of Air, you're really unleashing things you've kept suppressed, I think. There's an immense amount of creative ability in you, and for some reason you've like hidden it. And the permission that's coming through, and that new perspective with the patience that's coming through, that's helping you to broaden and embrace and step into your originality that you've kind of kept under lock and key, is opening up all of these gifts that you've just been like sitting on. I don't know, this is kind of making me it's a little sad, but it's making me crack up too at the same time, because it's sort of like, I feel like it's been this awkwardness around this that's kept it locked away. And once you unlock it and just like really accept this different thing about you and just give it that permission, it's like all this weird stuff goes away, and it's just like you're just filled with magic, and you see so quickly how stupid it was that you locked it away or felt weird about something. And I think the reason I'm laughing, I think, is because you're gonna laugh and just be like, what else can I do? I sat on this gift for how many damn years, and look what it could have done for me, but here it is, and it's magic. And maybe it just wasn't meant to come out until right now anyway, and embracing that. And like, yeah, but something just like that you've felt awkward about and kept locked up has been such an unnecessary awkward feelings, and it's so much is gonna pour out of you creatively, and it's magnificent, and nobody thinks it's weird. Like, it's only you that has had this weird judgment of why you've locked some original aspect of yourself up. And then we've got no place like home. And I think that you're finding your home in the world. I love this coming out under her on her ship having already come in and sailing it. You're feeling at home in yourself, hence anywhere you go is like home, because you are home to you, and you finally embraced who you are, and this thing that you've masked or locked up or whatever, and it's unleashed, and you are your true north. You are your own home, and you feel it, and it's intense and powerful and has immense gravity, and yeah, it's just amazing. And so much creation coming out of you, and so much comfort suddenly with yourself that you're just at home in yourself suddenly, wherever you are. Okay, a couple more. Growth. I love this. I think that you're due some growth. I think that you've really suppressed something. It's like you're an oak tree, and you've contained yourself in a 5-gallon pot, unwilling to plant it anywhere because you feel strange about something about yourself or where you are. But suddenly it's like, I don't know, it's like this spark with that change in perspective. It's like all of a sudden you know exactly where to plant yourself, or just the courage to plant yourself, whatever it is, you suddenly plant yourself in the proper place, or just claim that it's okay to be planted in general. And you just start to grow. No more containing yourself in a much smaller vessel than will allow you to grow into who you are. And that's all that's happening. You're just growing into who you are and who you're meant to be. And it's just that you've contained that for so long. It just feels like that sort of massive growth spurt, but it's just making up for lost time, really. Okay. Fluidity, outer core. This is you. You are emerging unmasked, bare, fully accepting, embracing, complete self-love, complete self-acceptance. Yeah, you're just, you're done hiding things away, wearing masks. Yeah, and just life is ready to flow. You've kept it contained much too long. And then fury, bushfires. To me, this is like all the different masks you've worn over time, and we see a few of them. I see it on her. Let's see. Patience isn't, but I know the Empress has one. She's got one. You're taking all the different masks you've worn over time to hide this thing about you that's very different and original and got kind of its own beat. And as you see the magic that gets unleashed by just embracing it and really coming into home with yourself and this immense creative ability and power coming in, you allow the fury to come in of whatever made you feel like you needed to hide or that oppressed you or whatever it is. And you take all those masks and you take all of that bent up, pent up energy and all of that hiding, and you just torch it. You just torch it, which then adds even more fertility for that new growth to come in. It's just adding more minerals and fresh plains for the nutrients needed for your growth. So allowing a bit of that righteous anger to come in for whatever made you feel like you needed to kind of hide aspects of yourself away or mask them. Miss Sunshine, yes, I love this. You're in general, I mean, this is about what is going to start radiating, and it's just you. You in general, your personal sense of self is just ready to come out. It's like the coming out party. whatever was not ready to come out is now, and you're ready to stand in all its glory and to be seen, and it's glorious. It's beautiful. And it's going to be reflected back to you in such a soft, gentle, easy way that you're going to be shocked. Because in your mind, I think you have this impression that if you came out and showed your personal light in all of its wholeness and all of its originality and quirkiness, that you'd kind of, you know, it would be that light where people would want to like hide from it. I like too direct of a light, or some quality of light that people don't love, but what you're finding is your quality of light is reflected back to you as absolutely magical and soothing and magical and just full of imagination, full of tenderness and imagination and worlds. It's like you contain worlds that people want to get lost in within you, your light, your creativity. I don't know, whoever that might make sense to some of you, whatever that meant. And then mermaids love, oh, I love this. The way I'm going to interpret this is that you're a siren. You are whatever you identify as in terms of gender, doesn't matter. You have a siren energy, and that was maybe made to be judged as bad or something, or not appropriate growing up, but you're letting it out and you're like, hey, no, I am a siren. Take it how you want, but that's something magical and alluring there, a little dangerous, and that's okay. That's your magic, and you contain something that is very powerful and intense and holds so much gravity and draw to people. It's beautiful. You need to let it out. So in a year from now, I feel like you're already starting to take some of the masks off. You haven't quite gotten to the point of growing and then burning them, but you're stepping in initially right now with daring to take the masks off. And then by that year point, you're just full mermaid, alluring, siren. Okay, these last oracle cards before we do something a little different to end. The Alchemist. And yeah, to me, the Alchemist is taking something more base and going through chemical processes to turn them into metaphorical gold. And so for you, I feel like it's these awkward feelings about who you are or what your creativity is specifically, and really starting to do some work around ridding yourself of certain emotions that are very base and don't belong there, and into more embracing and proud and fully accepting type of energy around your sense of self and your creativity. So you're going to be going through in the next year a lot of alchemical processes about how you feel about something unique about your creativity, and really finding much higher emotions and acceptance around there. Ooh, fate. Yeah, so okay. And I was feeling this. I was kind of laughing before how it's like with that treasure island, how all of a sudden, whoops, so sorry, you start to see how you've kept something, something about yourself masked and locked up for almost like, once you see what magic this aspect of self holds and how it's being responded to and the magnificence of it and not the awkwardness of it, it's almost like, it just like made me laugh because I think you laugh at it, but also this tragedy of like, I've kept this locked up. Why? For so long? What a waste, But this is saying no, like maybe you needed this period of sitting on this, of finding, having to go through these awkward or ashamed or need to hide something in order to kind of put pressure on this, which then like really solidifies something, really makes it a little bit maybe more refined, purified. There's something that like maybe it's needed time before it could come out in the way it's needed to. And right now is over this next year is the fated time for this to finally be unleashed. And you'll know for you specifically maybe why you had to go through some hiding or awkwardness around it. Withdrawal. So maybe there will be parts of the year leading up to the 1 year mark where you're going to need to do some withdrawings and some inner work to do kind of that alchemy and really pay attention and observe some weird, awkward, shame type feelings you've had or what you're hiding away, and work on something. Withdraw into yourself like the hermit and really get familiar with what is distinctly, uniquely you and your personal instinct that you've honed, but taking some time to really get personally familiar with and personally instinctual with, and really recognizing the wholeness of it because it's so distinctly and personally yours. The universe, to me, very similar to fate. It's like the world is calling, like the world, the collective energy and the cosmic energy also has a siren energy calling this out of you right now. Kind of a nice layered thing there. Not only will you discover your own mermaid energy, but there's a mermaid energy that's a little bit more ethereal calling this out of you right now. And it's really going to put some, I think, very targeted, specific things in your path to kind of push you into this, to take time to withdraw and see it, and then putting that pressure to change, alchemize certain ways you've felt about certain things, and really starting to let things out, creating those things like the leg up we saw in Fate, there's going to be these windows that open that are like, this is the moment it was meant. Here's your leg up because it's meant right now. We need it right now. It's Fate. The Magi, sorry. And to me, this is sort of like Empress energy. I think you're really going to step in at this year point. And I don't think this is something that's like, because in some of these readings, it's been more like, you know, things have their up cycles and their down cycles and what's going to be in the up cycle. But to me, this is about some core aspect of yourself that's just ready to stabilize and be seen. It's not something that's in a up and down cycle. Like this glow up, this radiance that's coming through is coming to stay. This is an aspect of yourself that is stepping out into the light, that's coming out. And it's this creatress, this Magi energy, knowing how to manifest, knowing how to create, knowing how to be fertile and use your fertility and your originality and your personal instinct and something wholly you and vibrant and just magical, in putting it into the world, letting the world have at it, sharing it. It's a gift to be shared, and it's time. The universe is like, no more. You've hidden this away too long. It's unacceptable. Okay, these last 3 cards, we're going to look at other things that may, you know, it may relate to what we said, and it may be totally different things that just we don't, aren't meant to have all the context around right now. But other things that are going to be in a phase of sort of radiance in a year from now. Surrender. Yeah, and I think this totally relates. I think you are surrendering your masks, you're surrendering strange emotions, you're surrendering any guards you've had around your creativity and fertility, and it's just you're allowing the universe access to this, and it's bringing it out of you. Patience, coming out right on top of withdrawal. I think that because whatever this is has sort of been locked away and hidden behind masks for so long, you really have really, really developed and understood the quality of patience, and that's being rewarded in this next year or a year from now. Like you're going to understand something about patience and the right timing, and something about that is really going to, give you a certain glow and a certain stability and radiance in your life. And time out. Back to that withdrawal. I think this is a gift. This isn't so much, to me, what's coming through about this is not so much about a radiance that's gonna be around you around time out. This is about you being given some time in the next year to withdraw and to do some alchemizing work and to really get familiar with what it is you're really needing to unleash and how and why, and really having time to center in this and understand it and embrace it and step out. So that is your reading. Really, really profound and beautiful, you guys. Very excited for you. It's going to be a really cool year-long journey. It definitely feels like it may feel like a good part of the year, like you're just doing some depth work and nothing's really coming of it. But once you get to that 9 month to year point, I think all of a sudden it's just going to be like, oh my gosh, whatever you are able to finally let out and get really comfortable with, it just changes who you are in your life, and it's going to be amazing. So Wow, good luck, you guys. Very exciting. And yeah, this is where I'm going to leave you. So if this resonated with you guys, I definitely appreciate the thumbs up. Lets me know what readings you guys are liking. Comments, I love perusing. It's always fun to see the specific things that stick out to you guys. And definitely subscribe if you're not. All right, I will see you guys in another reading. Hello, final pile 4. Welcome to your reading about what is going to be in sort of like a phase of radiance 1 year from now. So if this is you guys, you picked this beautiful Lapis Lazuli. See if I can get it closer. All right, put that over there for you guys. So I've pre-picked the cards just to save a little time. I have not looked at any of them, so we will both see them as they come. And I'm going to start with some tarot and then we'll move into oracle cards. And as I was pulling cards for this reading, for all of the piles, this doesn't always happen. Every once in a while this really becomes prevalent, but it's more rare than common. Is that the in this case, it was the stones, really started to give off very specific energies to me. And it felt like those energies that were being felt by them really wanted to have something to do with kind of the umbrella or overarching message or energy that's trying to have its glow up. And with the Lapis Lazuli, the word that just kept coming to me was grounding, something grounding for you guys. So we will use the cards to kind of decipher what that means, what the context around that is. And let's jump into tarot. So 5 of Earth, so right away we have an earth thing going on. Page of Air. 8 of Water, okay. Queen of Water, 4 of Water, and 3 of Earth, okay. Yeah, okay, I am not gonna lie. I think that for the majority of you coming to this reading right now, you are either in this place of having a very difficult time with the realm of values, and that might be literally the things you value in life and feeling like those things are really shifting, or it could be like financial issues or a sense of scarcity. Anytime we shift something in our life, it creates an instability. So when that has to do with what we value in life, that can manifest as sort of like a material or financial instability or scarcity, or just a scarcity around like an instability around like even finding that centering or that aim of like, what do I want? What do I value? I don't know what I value. What's going to bring me fulfillment? I feel like that's a big question for you going into this reading of like, what brings me fulfillment? And that question is really bringing some instability into your life. And it's also a very needed question. And don't worry, I just want to skip to this just so I don't create some anxiety in you. By the year point, you're going to find your footing and everything's going to be really in a very focused place. So let's get through this and then we'll land on that. But I just don't want you to feel like you're getting ripped off in your reading of like something that's supposed to radiate, and I'm just telling you there's scarcity. Okay, so but like right now I think there's that feeling in you of like, I don't know minimally what brings me fulfillment. I need to experiment, I need to try things, I need to process some things, and I need change. For some of you, it could also manifest as that, like I've said, that financial scarcity too. But the thing that you should be doing is just trying new things. You know, the 5 is about change. It's about experimenting. It's about shaking something up, and it's time to do that. And it's time to even do some inner work of like, what really is going to bring me some fulfillment? Is it money? Is it my relationships? What do I value? What brings me fulfillment? So there's kind of like a fresh energy coming out of you. And so this is why I feel like for the majority of you, it's just like you really need a big change in general in your life, like something's not fulfilling you. But I think you've already at this point embraced that. You've already embraced that there's a change happening. However it happened, it was meant to happen because I am not fulfilled. So sometimes we can get wrapped up into the reasons why we're in this mode of change or scarcity and wanting to place blame or something. But I'm here to say what these cards are showing is that even if there was an outside force that you want to point a finger at, even if that never happened, something else would have. Because you're meant to really figure out what brings you fulfillment. You were not being fulfilled in whatever was you were valuing in life. But there's a new spark already. I think if you're not feeling this yet, it's going to be within the next month. A new spark, or I would say the next 60 days, but for I think the majority of you, about a month. There is a new spark coming out of you, a new question, a new idea, a new ideal that is kind of giving you something. It may not have like the whole picture of what you're trying to seek, but it's giving you a breadcrumb, something to focus on, something to lead you to this other place, to try something different. And at this point, the fresh energy around it is bringing some idealism out of you, which I think is a really good thing to kind of elevate you out of sort of a bit of feeling of instability. So follow these little breadcrumbs that are going to start to appear within the next month or two, because they're really, they're kind of like divinely sent, and they're really little, like pay attention to synchronicities, pay attention to little messages that come through, pay attention to what you become curious about in a consistent manner, that's kind of leading you down a path. There's something that you're not going to be given the whole picture, but that breadcrumb is being divinely sent to give you some movement and some breadcrumb towards really embracing and being okay with and stepping away from what was not fulfilling you before. Because there can be that temptation to like, well, that was comfortable, and even though I'm recognizing I wasn't fulfilled, I'm too scared to throw my life into the kind of instability that's being felt. But these breadcrumbs are coming, ideas are coming, idolization of something is coming, and just follow that. It's really being you're being protected in that. It's something higher energy, higher power is kind of leading you towards whatever is next and giving you enough hope that you have the courage to step away. And that's what's going to happen next, is once you feel that breadcrumb and that idolization of this new potential path, is going to give you the courage to finally commit to walking away. And I think that this is going to be the 6-month point from here of like, I think there's going to be a little bit of teeter-totter kind of energy of like, I shouldn't walk away. I put so much into this, whatever is feeling unstable, I should dig back in and stabilize it, versus, yeah, but I'm not happy, kind of teeter-totter thing going on. And at the 6-month mark, you've had enough breadcrumbs and enough of this path being revealed to you of something else that you have finally the courage and the confidence to just walk away. And it's going to feel so good. It's going to feel right. It's going to feel good. And you're going to see every step you take away from it, how poorly that was built for the fulfillment you need to have at this point in your life. And then what you find in the next 6 months, and then especially at the year mark, is just like really figuring out what it is your soul wants, how your soul sustains itself, and finding within that this thing in you that loves to nurture in life, to create fertile grounds in life, that loves to protect the people you care about, to self-care in a deep way. Like the person that's arising out of you, and I don't care what gender you associate with, is someone that has a lot of intuitive wisdom and calm, of really knowing their proper boundaries to take care of themselves, as well as who and what needs to be taken care of around them to create really fertile, really secure, really stable grounding under them. So going back to this Lapis Lazuli, you're really figuring at that 6-month point, you're really seeing a quality arising out of you of knowing exactly what ingredients are needed, and that persona within you, that is what fulfills you the most. It's like having support systems, nurturing support systems, really taking care of yourself with whatever you need to do with rest or downtime, or feeding your imagination, having a little bit more of a imaginative, creative path. There's a meditative quality coming up here too. And I don't know, I just feel this presence in you of just like really getting it, of what you need, and finding this deep calm about it, this deep wisdom and intuitive, just sinking in life. And what comes out of that then is this new material orchestration. Something materially really falls into place, and you kind of are the general of it. You know how to put the right players in the right positions, so that there's sort of like the proper type of chain of command, the proper type of leadership in the different areas. And you really get something cranking, and it's something that just stabilizes and grounds and nourishes your life, and it brings you into a sense of self that feels just much more calm and much more taken care of. Yeah, so really gorgeous. I love that for you guys. So that's sort of what's coming into a radiance, is like really listening to what fulfills you and what nourishes you in life, and just stepping into it. And what arises out of that is a more robust material and connection to your values than what you stepped away from, what was terrifying to step away from, I think. Okay, let's look at some oracle cards. Oops, Yang. Yeah, oh, You are moving absolutely, and it was either last pile or pile 2, I can't remember, but there was a similar thing coming through of like, I think that you've been in a very yang mode of life, like really pushing into life due to appearances and expectation and drive and ambition. And I think you've burned out. And I think that you don't know how to value this anymore. You don't know how to reconnect to it. It's not sustaining you, and it's not sustaining you because it has not been balanced with feminine energy. It has not been balanced with depth and nurturance and care and a little bit of wildness and what feels right versus what looks right. And there's been a lot of proving and a lot of fire in you, but you've burnt out. It wasn't stable, it wasn't balanced, and it has it fried, you know. And it's not to say you can't have and get back some yang energy, but you have to get in touch with your yin energy before you can rebirth some yang in you. Okay, a change in the wind. Yep. We already knew that. That's just confirmation. There's a big change coming. You really are walking. And I feel, it's like I feel it just go down my throat, through my chest, down into my gut of just like, whatever you are leaving, it's hard. It is. I feel it. I feel it. I think it's different for everyone, so I don't want to get specific there, but I feel it. It's a lot. You're walking away from something that feels like a lot. But follow that wind of change. Follow those new breadcrumbs coming in. Surrender into it. You guys, I swear to you, I did not look at these cards. I did not look at them when I chose them, and I didn't look at them before we started the pile. I had no idea what was coming, and you can't effing make this up. You've got to balance your yin energy. You need to find what nourishes you, what grounds you, more in that private, soulful area of your life. What are your support systems? How do you self-care? How do you care for the people who are familial in your life, whether it's family or soul tribe, whatever? How do you nourish others and yourself? How do you find that depth? How do you find what fulfills you on a soul level? This is the journey coming up, and in a year from now, you're going to get it. You're really going to integrate that yin, and you're going to just embrace it and feel so held by it and grounded by it. Going back to the Lapis Lazuli, you're really grounding. You're really getting your depth, your roots, your stability, and some softness coming in. Okay. Few more oracle cards. Movement, speed. So this transition away from what you know, where the instability is and what you need to walk away from, it's happening very quickly. And like I said before, I feel like some of you have already are on that trajectory, are already taking some steps. And so this to me is indicating that this front end of the reading that we've talked about is going to go quite rapidly. And I think that's good, because I think you need a huge chunk of the year to really get in touch with that yin energy. And so that by the year mark, you're really glowing and radiating in it. So this moment of walking away and finding that new ideal that gives you the courage to just walk away and feel really good about it is going to happen very quickly. I would say by 2 months, if not 2.5 months, you're going to be out of that cycle, and you're just going to be really getting into this very, very different feeling yin energy. Really exploring it, really getting to understand it, getting to know it, getting to value it, getting to see what beauty and depth it brings you, and really respecting it. Yeah, creation, water, right with that Queen of Cups or Queen of Water. You're understanding what sort of, it's interesting. This must in some way, this is a very different iteration, but I've seen it in 2 other readings. This Cancer energy is coming through really strong right now. So collectively, there must be a lot going on with this kind of transition into yin energy and understanding how to create fertility and creation as a yin energy and not a yang energy. And I think you're tapping into that, seeing this water, like really getting in touch with emotions. It's shocking how little we as humans can identify, understand, and use emotions as information. But I think you're dropping into this. I think you're starting to listen to your emotions, be able to identify them, and understand that they are bringing you all sorts of messages that are helping you to move life and create fertile ground for creation. So you are replenishing. You are replenishing in a really, really profound way this year from that burnout. Light, sun. So yeah, by that year mark, you're going to start to upcycle back into some of that yang, which is actually so spot on because this 3 of Earth, this moves over into Capricorn energy, which is that if you were to look at the year in half of it being yang and half of it being yin, that Cancer energy is opposed to Capricorn, and Cancer starts us moving into the yin sort of mode, and Capricorn starts us moving into the yang mode. So I think you're taking the majority of this year to really replenish, really understand yin energy, really recuperate, really get in touch with your emotions, with fertility, with nurturing, what sustains you, what fulfills you, what grounds you, and really understanding that. And at that year point, you're going to feel that fire come back, your light come back, and start to put something into motion that's this different way of valuing, of connecting to the material, of creating, that's much more has much more foresight in terms of what it's doing for you on a soul level, and what you're doing in general in the world that's a little bit more nourishing to the world overall. I feel like whatever you were doing before, whether it had to do with just job or how you created or your kind of fire, was maybe a little bit not always so conscious of your cause and effect on the world. And I think whatever comes next, you have a lot more consciousness about your contribution and your effect on the greater world. So, a couple more oracle cards. My home is my castle. Yep. This totally Cancer energy again. It's like once you become very secure in yourself and you find what grounds you and you really understand yourself on your soul level and what nourishes you, it's amazing how grounded and dropped into yourself you can become, and so comfortable in yourself, which allows you to feel at home anywhere you go. And so that's what is happening. You're really developing, even beyond that, a sense of what home is, where you want to ground, the quality of home you want to make, what kind of support system is really important to you, and truly valuing that, really, really valuing that. It's beautiful to see. And new direction, we already know that. That's the second card, and these almost mimic each other in like the wind blowing these elements of the plant away. New direction. You've got to walk away a full stop first from something, but I think you're already in process of at least trying to do that. Okay, last main oracle cards. I have a few other cards that will be a little different, but that pertains to what we've already talked about. The Outlaw. I love this for you. I think you need to really rebel against whatever you have been doing to really kick up your life, shake it up a little, question things, rebel against things, rebel against who you were, what was tying you to certain values or ways of connecting to what fulfilled you, and really kicking it to the curb, really trying new things, really being okay with getting angry about even some values that you were tied into or held, and just making a break for it. I mean, of course, soul work. We've already talked about this. That's all this is about. Really getting in touch with your soul, with the yin energy, with what supports you, what nourishes you, your support systems, your depth. The Warrior. I think, like, paradoxically, you've come from sort of warrior energy, and you're now having to become a very different kind of warrior. And it's going to take warrior energy for you to make your breaks from things, and it may feel very daring and courageous and treacherous to do this soul work, to step into that yin energy. You kind of come into it with a warrior spirit because it kind of, you don't know what to expect, so you have sort of your guard up. And I want to say that's going to soften and ease, or you may turn into a warrior for the yin and really find this huge depth of what it is about and what it does for a person and a community, and really step up as sort of like a warrior for this kind of cultivating respect for this area of life, for this mode of being, and really like speaking up in the world for these values, for shifting the consciousness in general around how society is allowed to tap into the yin and sink into the yin and have a little bit more of a nourished life. Revolutionary. This is really crackling energy. So your way of like walking away from what was and stepping into this very different mode, it feels to you as a very revolutionary thing, as a very anarchist type of thing for people who have already really spent a lot of time here. They'll probably think it's adorable. Sorry, I don't mean to say it like that. But it is adorable. I just think that so many people that came to this reading probably have not fully understood, dove into, embraced, and respected the yin side of life. And because you're coming in with that fiery yang understanding of life, you're able to bring that fire into the yin, to really step into it with just like a fierceness, and really call out all these other ways of how you were taught to function, and see through what you've gone through, what you can speak up about for so many others, and bring into awareness for so many others that, you know, we need to bring more and more and more people into this. So it's like such a huge thing you're doing. So yeah, bring your fire to it. Really dive into the respect of this and bring your fire to making changes and bringing awareness and fighting for, society as a whole to have certain rights that give us nourishment and security in life just because we're human, type of thing. Okay, and then the Weaver. I love seeing this at the end. I think you end the year having really woven together a much more balanced and integrated yin and yang, and then you kind of are able to step back into some yang energy, but with a much more balanced, nourishing, holistic, natural way that's just really beautiful and wise and profound. That's what I want to say. I think you come into that year, in a year from now, there's just like something very profound about you because of different aspects of yourself that you've newly discovered and integrated and developed and woven back into the fabric of who you are and how you function and what you believe in and what you fight for. Okay, these last 3 cards, I just wanted a chance to see if there's any other things that it might be in a phase of radiance or a glow up a year from now. Some of these may relate to what we've talked about, and some of them may be just different things that, even though we weren't given context around them, we were supposed to be given a crumb about it. Forgiveness. Oh, that feels very big. That feels very big. So part of you finding your radiance is being able to walk away and find an ability to do that with grace and compassion and love. And that's what, I didn't say it before. I said that it felt heavy what you were walking away from, but the heaviness to me felt like there's maybe I think I teased or tiptoed around it that like maybe there's someone who could be accountable for certain things going wrong. Some finger pointing, circumstances and what's happening, where you're supposed to go, where you're going to be radiating. It needs you to move past this and to forgive, and just to know that even if this specific circumstance wasn't how it was, something else would put you in the same mode. And so it's just time to find compassion and to look forward. Intuition, yeah, you're really radiating that intuition and yin energy are same thing. And look at all these 2s. We've got 22, we've got 2, we've got 12. Yeah. Just a lot of reflection, a lot of more relational energy, a lot of listening to what's deep inside you, what's sometimes even irrational or illogical. But you're radiating like really understanding and having gotten in touch with your intuition on a new level. Oh, I love this, and self-love, and I love that coming next to like the weaving and the light, and where things feel like they're reintegrating, and a new kind of balance of yin and yang is coming forward, and the way it's balanced and the way it's weaving together just allows such a more whole sense of self and a more whole sense of love, therefore. Gorgeous, beautiful. This is where I'm going to leave you guys. Just feels like such an epic journey. I can feel it in my body. But what a profound place by the year mark to land compared to what I feel about this present moment. So definitely something to look forward to. For sure, it's not all going to be easy. There's some tough work there, but I feel like the majority, though, of the work is, at least half, if not 8 months of the year is really going to be like getting into this deep place, which I think will feel very, very positive and nourishing to you. So anyway, this is where I'm going to leave you. If this this reading resonated. Thumbs up is always helpful. Lets me know what you guys are liking and connecting with. Definitely love to peruse the comments if there's specific things that stuck out. It's always both fun and helpful to see that certain things are either connecting or, you know, if there's questions, that's great too. And for sure, subscribe if you're not yet. All right, I will see you guys in another reading.